If you're studying for the INBDE, I highly recommend INBDE Bootcamp, an all-in-one study resource that will help you pass your exam. Use coupon code MENTALDENTAL for 10% off. Hey everyone, Dr. Ryan here, and welcome back to Mental Dental. In this Dental Mythbusters series, I'll be taking a common dental belief, putting it under the microscope, and asking one question: is it fact, fiction, or somewhere in between? I'll use evidence to support or deny the claim, so you know as a patient, a student, or doctor what the truth really is. Today's myth is, does hydroxyapatite toothpaste actually work? Or is it just another trendy wellness product? Let's find out. This is one of the most common toothpaste questions I see online right now. Some people say hydroxyapatite is the future of dentistry, while other people say no fluoride, no thanks. So today we're putting this dental myth to the test. Does hydroxyapatite toothpaste actually work? And the verdict is plausible and promising. It's certainly not magic, but it's also not nonsense. Hydroxyapatite toothpaste is biologically reasonable, the evidence surrounding it is growing, and I wouldn't dismiss it as just another dental fad. Let's talk about why. First, what even is hydroxyapatite? Well, it's a calcium phosphate mineral that's closely related to the mineral structure of enamel and dentin. So when a toothpaste contains hydroxyapatite, the idea is, what if we could provide these tiny calcium phosphate particles that help support the repair of early microscopic mineral loss? That's the basic concept, at least. Hydroxyapatite toothpaste is trying to support remineralization by providing tooth-like mineral. Notice how that's very different from saying that it regrows teeth or somehow heals giant cavities. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about very early mineral loss, early enamel changes, and caries prevention. To understand hydroxyapatite, we need to understand that tooth enamel is in a constant tug of war. On one side, we have demineralization. That happens when bacteria in dental plaque metabolizes carbohydrates and produce acid. Those acids lower the pH and pulls mineral out of the enamel. On the other side, we have remineralization. That happens when minerals like calcium and phosphate move back into this weakened enamel, especially when the oral environment becomes healthier again. So dental caries doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. Mineral leaves the tooth, mineral comes back to the tooth. And if demineralization wins often enough and long enough, the enamel eventually breaks down into a physical cavity. And that's why the toothpaste we use matters. A good anti-cavity toothpaste should help shift the balance away from demineralization and toward remineralization. Fluoride does this very well, as we talked about in the previous episode. Hydroxyapatite may also help in a different way. So far, the evidence for hydroxyapatite toothpaste is pretty promising. A 2019 study found that a 10% hydroxyapatite toothpaste performed similarly to a fluoride toothpaste in remineralizing early caries lesions and preventing demineralization. A 2023 randomized clinical trial compared a fluoride-free hydroxyapatite toothpaste with a 1450 ppm fluoride toothpaste over 18 months and found the hydroxyapatite toothpaste was not statistically inferior for caries prevention in adults. While it wasn't necessarily better, it wasn't worse either. And then a 2021 systematic review and meta-analysis concluded that hydroxyapatite oral care products, even without fluoride, showed evidence for reducing dental caries. And there are even more reviews that continue to show growing support. So no, hydroxyapatite is not just a random buzzword. There's real science behind it. But there are some caveats that we should talk about. When evaluating any hydroxyapatite toothpaste, a formula must hit the mark across 3 pillars in order to be both functional and safe. So the first pillar is particle size. Here you're looking for nano-sized, which is somewhere between 20 and 100 nanometers. Only nanoparticles are small enough to lock into the enamel matrix to properly remineralize teeth. So we need specifically nano hydroxyapatite. The second pillar is formula percent. So here you're looking for somewhere between 3 and 10% concentration. Too little won't yield therapeutic results. Too much can cause the particles to actually clump together in the tube, canceling out the benefits of their small nano size. And then the third pillar is particle shape. So here you're looking specifically for rod shaped. Rods are very biocompatible with your natural enamel while avoiding the cellular toxicity risks tied to cheaper needle-shaped crystals, which you want to avoid. Ollie's brand of toothpaste, for example, checks all 3 of those boxes. All that said, the biggest mistake I see, especially online, is people turn toothpaste into a team sport. Fluoride versus fluoride-free, natural versus anti-natural. And that's not how dentistry should work. Dental recommendations should depend on the patient. So a low caries risk adult with great oral hygiene, low sugar frequency, good saliva, regular dental visits, and they have a strong preference, let's say, to avoid fluoride, well, hydroxyapatite could be the perfect option for that person. They have a very different situation, though, from a high caries risk patient with dry mouth and exposed root surfaces and active decay, poor plaque control, frequent snacking, and a history of multiple cavities. That person really needs that fluoride that not only remineralizes like hydroxyapatite does, but also makes enamel stronger and makes plaque bacteria weaker, like we talked about in the last video. So the best toothpaste for one person may not be the best toothpaste for another person. That's why I don't like extreme statements like everyone must use fluoride no matter what, or fluoride is outdated and everyone should switch to hydroxyapatite. Both of those are too much of a blanket statement. It really comes down to the caries risk for each individual patient. Low or even medium caries risk, hydroxyapatite toothpaste honestly could be a great option. But for the high caries risk patients, standard fluoride remains the most proven defense against aggressive decay. So the final verdict for does hydroxyapatite toothpaste actually work is yes, but it hasn't replaced fluoride, or at least not yet. Fluoride still has decades of evidence and the ADA anti-cavity seal behind it. So what I tell my patients is this: if you use fluoride and you tolerate it well, fluoride toothpaste remains a strong evidence-based choice and continue to use it. But if you refuse fluoride, then hydroxyapatite is a much better alternative than using a fluoride-free toothpaste with also no real anti-cavity ingredient. I would much rather that person use hydroxyapatite instead of nothing. And lastly, if you are high risk for cavities, then don't switch away from that fluoride without talking to your dentist first, because fluoride still is unmatched and has more benefits than anything else. If you enjoyed this episode of Dental Mythbusters, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and let me know in the comments what myth you want me to cover next. Thanks again for watching, take care, God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.